It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Two Guys and a Goalie, 1 day away from the Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. It's Nielson, Cass, and Gage are with you. If you are listening on TuneIn, iHeart, or on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can text us anytime. Any of your questions you have about this series, I will gladly pass them along to the boys at 780-218-9999. And, of course, you can hit us up over in the nasty chat as well. If you are watching on YouTube, please hammer the thumbs up for us. Let's try to push that bad boy up to 100 likes today here during Two Guys and a Goalie. We will get to your bigger and hotter headlines as we work our way through this bad boy. Cass, it seems like forever since we got to watch the Edmonton Oilers play playoff hockey, man. This is nuts.
So long. I was so hoping they would find a way to start the series on like Sunday or Monday, but obviously that didn't happen, and we had to wait. And it just feels like I'm 100 years old waiting for this.
Did you manage to use any of this free time to watch Fallout?
I've started.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm not done it, but yeah, we started chipping away. So I'm a couple episodes in. I think just 2 episodes in.
Sometimes you can be more critical on some of these shows than Gage and I, Cass. What do you think?
I really like it so far. The goriness is a little bit much for my lovely spouse.
My wife too.
But for me, I'm just kind of giggling because I'm like, it's, obviously the video games aren't as graphic, but it's just like, well, that's kind of how the video games are with some of the stuff in there, and I've enjoyed it so far. I think they set the stage for some good character development so far. So yeah, I've liked it. I've enjoyed it. It's been good so far.
Gager, I'm 7 episodes in now, and like we're making it a priority. We did an episode Friday. We did 2 episodes Saturday. Last night, I did have a bunch of stuff to do, but I was like, if we bang out a Fallout right now, I can still get 2 hours of work in after. So as soon as the kids were in bed, we went and watched it. I mean, Walton Goggins as the Ghoul is just absolutely cooking in this series, and I actually love like there's so many different storylines, but I love the mystery of what's actually happening in the vaults as well. Vault 31, Vault 4. Like they've got me tied into every single story, I guess is what I'm saying. I love it.
It's great, Dusty. It's a fantastic show. You're gonna love the ending. Speaking of the gore, because I was watching it with my son, and he went and downloaded Fallout 4. And you got to pick your traits, right? And even in the beginning, the girl, it's Lucy, I believe. She says her intelligence is high, she's strong. Like those are part of the traits when you build your character in the video game. But actually, extra gore is a trait that you can purchase for your character in Fallout. So, and then it just makes everything a little bit more graphic when you kill something during the game. So it's actually, they've done everything with this. Goggins is awesome. This is actually, I was reading a little thing about it. This is if you go to Fallout 1, 2, 3, New Vegas 4, this is the next evolution of the whole story of the video game too, and I'm sure that Bethesda is going to come out with a new one of it because the success of this is off the charts.
It's been a lot of fun. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'd highly advise you do. Tam is still covering her faces like a bunch of times. Like, how many episodes are there? We're through 7. Is there only 8?
8.
Man, it makes me sad that we only have 1 episode left. We're gonna have to watch it tonight.
The worst thing about the whole number 8, Dusty, is there's no 9. That's the biggest.
Good. Leave us wanting more, right? Leave us wanting more. Which is totally okay.
Yeah. I love. You know what? One thing I do appreciate, and Gage, you pointed out, is it's like there's lots of Easter eggs in there, but they're not just doing it like fan service. Like it's not just Easter egg for the sake of an Easter egg. It's like, no, it fits in. Like I was giggling. My wife didn't understand like when she was talking about, the intelligence and all that. I was like, yeah, this is what this is. Even the junk jet, like I had to pause it and explain. I'm like, okay, like that's what this is. Like she's like doesn't understand. And I'm like, well, when you run out of bullets and you're fighting things, there's a gun called the junk jet. You throw stuff in it, and then I'm having to explain how there's just like so much stuff. You can just pick up anything in the world. And she's just like, And I was all just giggling about it. So yeah, it's been. I'm looking forward to continue to chip away at it. Yeah.
So when you start the game, for those of you who know about the game, like either of you guys, do you just get to choose Lucy, or who else do you choose?
No, you customize your character however you want.
But can you play as the ghoul though, or like the ghoul's like the enemy, they the big bad?
You can't play as a ghoul, no, because you're starting in a vault, so you're not typically.
Oh, okay, so you're starting in there,
You're not a ghoul, yeah.
All right,
but, you can make your person how you
want. Fun show. People know like we're pop culture, freaks. So I wanted to talk about that because that's been one of my favorite shows to watch in quite some time. This series, as far we were talking about, one of the reasons I've had time to crush through this is the Oilers haven't played, so it's been nice having a little bit of downtime. But I'm ready to stop talking about the series and actually watch the series be played. Gage, the one element of it with this, I don't know. Let's have this whole discussion on a week off now. With that being said, Vancouver's going to have like a handful of days here as well. But Gage, how hard is that on goalies? Is that the position that is the most difficult to not play for a week, or the one that might be most difficult to sort of pick back up again? Or how does that impact Shelovs, who was great, at the end of that Nashville series, or Skinner, who obviously was really good against the Kings as well?
Well, looking at both series were quite different, right? The Oilers were pretty much in command of that whole series. Skinner finishes quite strong at the end. Was it Philos? Is that how you say it? I hate getting names wrong, but for him, this
Shelovs.
Yeah. Okay, Shelovs. For him, I think it would benefit him way more than Stuart Skinner. And I alluded to this a bit on your show this morning, that because he doesn't know what he doesn't know. He got thrown into this situation. Just the fact that now he's had a few days to kind of decompress and start realizing where he actually is, and I think it can become a little bit overwhelming. We'll learn a lot about him as an individual going into this next series, because obviously he's been overwhelmed by how are you going to do against McDavid and Draisaitl, this high-powered offense, and he's constantly getting these questions about that instead of waiting a day, probably not talking to anyone and just playing again. He's had a lot more time to think about. Whereas Skinner, to a point, he has something to prove still, right? Like, got past the first round last year. Now comes the second round where he did stumble a little bit through that series. So I think Stuart Skinner's way more prepared for the second round, whereas Philos now is he's in uncharted waters, had a time to think about it.
Yeah.
And it could be, we'll see. It could be a little bit overwhelming for him.
I do like the idea.
I think so.
Oh, go ahead, guys. I was just going to say, I do like the idea of us calling him Philos instead of Shelovs the entire
Shelovs, whatever. I don't.
It looks like Shelovs, but it's Shelovs. Go ahead, Cass. What were you going to say there?
No, I was just going to piggyback on Gage there. I think, it's like if you were Shelovs,
OVS.
Shelovs. I think it's a more challenging situation playing in the second round, because it's not like he didn't have time to think. It was like, you're playing, and now it's the time to think about, oh no, wait, I'm not just facing Nashville, who has one line. Like, I'm facing Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid in a power play that can absolutely burn me. Like, now he's sitting there thinking about, how am I going to save those backdoor one-timers from Leon Draisaitl on the power play, and just dwelling on that. So I think we'll find out. I don't know how fast, but emotionally, mentally, how prepared he is heading into game one. I mean, that's going to be. Doesn't that kind of feel like the series to you guys? Like Vancouver goaltending. What kind of goaltending you get from Vancouver?
Pretty much. I mean, they're going to have to. They're going to have to get. And I already see the text on Thursday morning. Shelovs, more like he lost. Like that's probably gonna be happening. But yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, like, what is the path to a victory for the Vancouver Canucks? And I mean, regardless of everything else that happens, Cass, they have to have Shelovs put up at least a 915. I mean, that's probably gonna bare minimum. Like,
yep, he's got to be good, right? Actually, I would say he's probably got to be better than good. Like, he has to be borderline great. I don't think he necessarily has to be great to win the series, but he's got to be better than good. Like, he has to be above average, solidly above average, to win the series, I think.
Okay, so this is perfect. We got the 2 guys in the goalie. We've got a forward who played in the National Hockey League, goalie who played in the National Hockey League. For a goalie who's only played 12 games, like you haven't really got to look at him. It's not like McDavid knows all the tendencies because they played him a bunch of times, like Demko. Same on the other side. Like, where's the advantage there when there's really no history between Shelov's and the Edmonton Oilers goal scorers? How do you balance that? Is there an advantage one way or the other?
Depends what happens in the first 30 minutes of the hockey game.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you don't have the book quite yet developed. I'm sure Dustin Schwartz is reviewing anything he can get his hands on to kind of break down Shelov's game. But look, I don't. If the Oilers, there's no excuse for a guy that's played, like you said, Dusty, 12 games to be goalied and be outplayed in a series. The Oilers are too good. If that happens, that's catastrophic for the Oilers team. They have to find. They've made other goalies, good goalies, look very average. So the kids played well, but I don't think it matters at this point. Though, with the firepower, the hardware that these guys have accumulated over the last few years, a young guy with 12 games shouldn't be that much of a factor. But saying that, I do think Thatcher Demko, the way he plays, and if we look back to 2017 with Cam Talbot, he covers up a lot of defensive deficiencies with the team that you don't really realize, and that's how good Thatcher Demko is. I'd say he might even have to have a higher save percentage than that, because Thatcher Demko, he takes 3 or 4, probably even 5 goals away from the other team on a nightly basis, right? And I'm going to wipe the slate clean to what happened at the beginning of the year and throughout the regular season. This is a new stage for both teams. What happened before doesn't matter at all. He's going to have to be really good if the Canucks are going to want to have a chance in this series.
Do you guys think, Gager, maybe you can jump on this here, because we here have been saying regular season doesn't matter. Do you think mentally, or not even mentally, but do you think that's been a conversation in the dressing room for Vancouver where they're like, hey, you know what, we got them during the season, like we got them, we can roll them now, we can play now. Like, do you think that's a conversation that's happening?
Oh yeah, I mean it's the adage of a fighter getting pumped up before a fight. Look what we did before. Look at our record. We dominated these guys. To get that mindset that, you don't want your guys going into a series thinking, oh my gosh, we're going up against Oilers, even though you beat them 4 times. So you feed on anything that you can to enter into that mindset of being dominant, right? I think that's been the mantra over the last few days with the Canucks every day. That look what we were able to do against these guys each and every time we played them. We can beat these guys. This is another stepping stone on the way to the Stanley Cup. That's what I'd be doing as a coach anyway. I'm sure Talkett's doing the same.
This text message is in from Tyler in Terwilliger, says, "She loves me. She loves me not." This is just kind of funny. I don't know. It doesn't really tie into anything, but I do like that. Let's get to this text from Eden, 780-218-9999. You are listening on iHeart or TuneIn or at edmontonsportstalk.com to 2 guys and a goalie, or if you're watching over on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us over there as well. Push out our content to others who enjoy hockey conversation. Afternoon, boys. Last round, the Oilers defense played fairly well, which I think was a combo of the players stepping up and LA not forechecking. Is there any concern with an actual forecheck pressuring the defense? Games 4 and 5 featured more forechecking, and the defense coughed up a puck a bit. Cass, how much could it impact guys going from playing a team that's conservatively in a 1-3-1 to a team that's definitely not in a 1-3-1, I guess? Yeah.
Well, but the thing with the 1-3-1 is that's neutral zone 1-3-1. Like, LA tries to aggressively forecheck, but then if they're not able to apply aggressive pressure, then they fall off and they back up. And now Vancouver is different in that they're high pressure all over the ice. Like, that's how Talkett likes to play, is aggressive. And that, I think, will create a very different challenge. The challenge against LA for the Edmonton Oilers is how do we generate through the neutral zone and not turn the puck over? Now, the challenge against the Vancouver Canucks is how do we get the puck moving north and not turn the puck over in our own zone? Because that's what Vancouver's trying to do, is they're trying to make you turn over the puck in your own zone for that quick chance against versus in the neutral zone. And that'll be challenging. It's going to be more difficult. The D are going to have a lot more pressure. They're going to have to turn the puck up ice quicker. They're going to have to execute that first pass better, I think. And that'll be a challenge. I mean, that's the big thing that the Edmonton Oilers are going to have to deal with is the pressure of the Vancouver Canucks, not just in the offense or the defensive zone, but also in the neutral zone, because they're just going to be a much more high pressure team. Now, I think that leads to you can generate more offense, because if you can beat the pressure, well, now you can have numbers on the rush. You're cleaner through the neutral zone. You might be able to generate 5-on-5 more that way, but it also means Vancouver has a potential to generate more 5-on-5. So it creates a little bit of a different matchup. I think creates a little bit of a different challenge than we saw against LA. Edmonton's defense in particular, they're going to have to be good. You want to win the series, your defense has to be clean at moving the puck.
Go ahead, Gager.
It'll be interesting because that 1-3-1, it's almost at times when the first couldn't forecheck, he would just back out right out to the neutral zone, right? And they'd wait for you, like Cass mentioned. It's more of the but now you'll see a guy, at least, Darnell Nurse or whoever has it, can't just stand in front of his net and wait, 15 seconds to set up and go. I think that was a huge mistake by the LA Kings. Now you're going to have at least a guy funneling the puck to a side, so it's going to be completely different. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be a completely different series with the way that the Canucks defend opposed to the LA Kings. I'm excited for it. This is going to be awesome.
Right now, over at Coolbet, the Edmonton Oilers are heavy, -270 favorites to win this series. The Vancouver Canucks, a +220 underdog. The Canucks, of course, finishing first in the Pacific. The Canucks, of course, having home ice in this matchup. The Canucks hanging on to first, even though they lost Demko. The Canucks in the last round against Nashville, winning games with 3 different goaltenders. Cass, how big of underdog do you view the Vancouver Canucks as? Because this has certainly become a thing over the last 3 or 4 days. Sportsnet, I think 22 of their 23 analysts picked the Oilers to win this series. Like, everybody is picking the Oilers to win this thing. So how big of underdog do you view the Vancouver Canucks?
Not that big. I mean, they're a good team. They're a very good team. I think the goaltending question is a legitimate one to skew the favor to where, I lean towards Edmonton. It's advantage Edmonton in the series, but Vancouver's still really good. Pettersson had a non-existent series that first round. If he can come alive and play well in the second round here against Edmonton, well, it's still going to be a challenge. So I don't think it's nearly as cut and dry as some of the analysts and some of the lines are right now. Like I think it's still going to be tight. I do still like Edmonton in the series, but I don't think it's heavily skewed or as heavily skewed as it seems to look, or some people seem to think it is.
Gage, where do you come out on this one, bud?
No, man, I don't see it as so lopsided as a lot of people do. I think maybe it is the goaltending, right? But I still think that this is going 6 or 7 games with this team. This is going to be a long, drawn out series. At least 6 for sure. Vancouver has shown that they've been able to handle some adversity and a good test against the Nashville Predators. Granted, it's not the Edmonton Oilers, but yeah, they're a really, really good team. And you saw what they were able to do with shutting down and not allowing a lot of opportunities against Nashville in the last series. It's not going to be as a cakewalk as I'm kind of reading. This is going to be a very, very difficult series for the Edmonton Oilers. It
is 2 guys, the goalie. We are going to continue with the series preview here of the Canucks and the Oilers a little bit later on here on 2 guys and a goalie. We'll take a look at the position battles and where they match up. But let's dive into your bigger and hotter headlines for Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria. It's a real pizzeria restaurant. They got all sizes of pizzas, but they really move the needle with like the 36-incher that we saw pop up on social media over the weekend. It's a pizza experience you've been waiting for. Visit them at 12848 97th Street. Order today at www.bmpp.ca or give them a call, 587-746-0550. Pizza's so big, they need adjustments on their ovens and they need specially designed vehicles to deliver these things. And I always think it's important to be like the first one there. So you want to be your first buddy who orders this for a gathering, right? Gager, which is what happened with one of your buddies this weekend, was it not?
Yeah. He texted me Saturday morning, I believe. He goes, "Hey Gager, what's the name of that place that Dusty got that pizza from?" And so we were doing, and then I go, "Yeah." He goes, and then it was funny. I should read the text, but he says I don't know if because they're far away, because he's on the south side like me, and because I don't know if they deliver. And he goes, "They're making adjustments. They're gonna do it."
What?
And then then he sent me that photo of him. They couldn't bring it inside the house. They had to bring the party out front. And thank God it was a nice day, right? So they did some damage on that thing. Everybody on the front lawn, I guess. So just awesome. And then I'm just going shopping, Dusty, and I'm driving in the south side, and I see the BMPP, and I'm like, what? And so there's a big mamas and papas coming to the south side, because I would, how am I going to get this 36-incher to my house? Do I got to drive to the north side? No, looks like I'm just going to have to make a little hop, skip, and a jump over to Windermere to pick this thing up. I'll have to do something to the car, but
I want you to put that thing on top of your vehicle. Right? You got a little bit of room up there. Strap that thing down. But yeah, when they first reached out to me about doing some stuff with us, they did say there was two Edmonton the first two locations in Canada for BMPP coming to Edmonton, and they had the one that was ready to go. I think there was some delays on construction or whatever with the other one, but there's another one opening up on the south side down in. Man, you got to see these pizzas. It's amazing, and it's good. It's good pizza as well. I finally got rid of the pizza box that we had here. Remember, like I took it out, I put it in the truck, I took it home. Then when we were leaving to go to San Diego, I was putting the suitcases in the back, took it out, put in the garage, and then I was on a bit of a recycling run Sunday, I guess. And I grabbed it and I put it in the truck. And then I went to one of those like recycling centers, the one down in Collingwood with all the bins. And like all the bins, cardboard wise, I don't know if there's a strike right now or what's going on, but like they were all just absolutely jammed. And I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? And there was already like stacks of cardboard in between the bins. So I just put it nicely right in between the bins so everybody could see it. It's like the equivalent of losing a golf ball on the golf course with your logo on it. You're just like, I'll just leave it for everybody. So now there's going to be people rolling into this recycling center looking at this 36-inch pizza box. I mean, like, what the hell is going on here right now? So, but you got to try it. I mean, try the regular size pizza, swing by, get a slice, whatever. But yeah, second location is on the way. First location, 12848 97th Street, www.bmpp.ca, or call 587-746-0550. Your bigger and hotter headlines here on Two Guys and a Goalie. Head coach of the Ottawa Senators, Travis Green. Cass, your thoughts on Travis Green getting another crack at it here as a head coach in the NHL?
Yeah, 4-year deal too. Not a short one.
No,
not a short one. I mean, I thought they were going to go the Dean Evason direction. I thought that made sense to me to kind of bridge the intensity that I think would be beneficial for the Ottawa Senators to get in. And Green has some of that too, naturally in his coaching style, reportedly as well. So I don't mind it. I think he's a good NHL coach. The proof is going to be in the pudding. When they actually hit the ice, how do they play? Can he or is he the guy to take them a step forward here on this? I was a little surprised it was a 4-year deal. I would have thought it would have been like 2 years, but they go the full 4. And Dusty will. It seems to be that it's quite polarizing. It seems to be a polarizing pick right now in the Ottawa market, where some people are all about it and love it, and some people are just like can't believe it. But Steos certainly did his due diligence. It wasn't a rush decision on this, and they feel that he's the right guy for the fit. So we'll have to see how it pans out.
Yeah, I mean, his run in Vancouver, missed playoffs, lost in second round to the Golden Knights, missed playoffs, then was fired, stepped in briefly here for the Devils at the tail end of the season. Obviously, that team overall missed the playoffs. Like, he hasn't really had. I can see why it's sort of a torn fan base right now in Ottawa, because he hasn't necessarily had a ton of success, Gager. And I mean, I don't know where else to look at. Nothing against his WHL championship with Portland, but there's really not a lot of winning anywhere else on this resume.
No, I was shocked with it a little bit. I thought, looking at the coaches that are out there, I would have thought that Berube would have been the first domino to fall, right? Maybe he's holding out, and maybe there's been some discussions. I mean, there's rumors of him going to Toronto but yeah, I mean, from what it sounded like too, Dusty, and obviously I'm not in the room, but just rumors of saying he lost the room, essentially. There wasn't. He became the Charlie Brown teacher, and so that was a little bit. That was interesting to me, but hopefully, because I mean, how many years in a row have we been talking about the Ottawa Senators, guys, that we thought that they would be, at least pushing for that wild card spot? And enough's enough with the talent of that team. Something has to change. I don't know what it is. Maybe this is the next step for a little bit more accountability throughout the whole lineup. I'm not sure.
The only dealings I had with him was he came and coached the Spengler one of the years I was covering it, and they were awful. I was like, man, no, that comes out of rosters, but like, I mean, it's a different game over there. He didn't have a lot of experience, but it was not good. Like, I was just like, what the hell is going on with this team out here right now? Like, they did not look good. So I don't know. I didn't think he'd land a 4-year deal somewhere. I'm with Cass. I mean, the term here. I mean, you want to take a crack at Travis Green, give him 2 years. See how it goes, and then go from there. It's not like, to me, for a coach landing these 4-year deals makes you think that other people were lining up to get him, and maybe they were, but it sure didn't seem that way. So, yeah, we'll see with the Ottawa Senators. Cass, do you think a coach is what gets the Sens on the track that we've talked about a few off seasons in a row now?
I hope so. Sometimes we play too much into coaching. Right, and that the coach is the difference, and it can make a difference, but I don't know. It could be one of those things where it's like the maturity and the age and the development of the group finally hits a point where it turns the tide. And certainly at times this year they played well. Like, they went through stretches this year where they played well, and so it's a hard question, Dustin. That's a hard question to answer.
I don't know how much of a difference it makes.
I don't know how much of a difference it makes. I still think, primarily it has to be on the players in that dressing room to respond to whatever Green tries to do. So it's a tough one. I hope that it is the last piece to where they finally transition to playing how I want them to play, and hope they play in the success. I'll probably, depending on what happens this summer, we'll probably pick them to be pushing for a wild card spot, just like I did this year, again, based on the roster. So it's going to be a matter of execution, and can Green get the most out of his guys? And I don't know. We'll have to see. I truly I don't know, guys. I don't know.
This comment in the nasty chat from John Johnston, who's kind of slid into our content lately as a Canucks fan, which I told him, but this is the perfect time because he can talk about Green, and he's in there and he goes, as a Canuck, he didn't leave any kind of name for himself. That's for sure. He was just there. And now thankfully he is gone. So, I would be more surprised if Travis Green leads the Sens to the postseason than not surprised if he doesn't. But we'll see how that sorts itself out. Speaking of coaches in Ontario, as we continue with our bigger and hotter headlines, Sheldon Keefe. Gage, we'll start with you on this one. Is he the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs next season?
God, I hope so, because it would just explode in Toronto if he is.
Can you imagine they run that back and then they start 4-10 or something? My God.
Oh my gosh. And especially when, he didn't do himself any favors in those the exit meetings. I heard him say he kind of referred to the Leafs like he's already out the door. I forget the context and how he was.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just aren't you still the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs there? That just showed me he knows, he can see the writing on the wall. I mentioned before, like there's rumblings of Berube taking over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like there's a lot of good coaches out there. His time's done. This whole experiment is completed. Dubas with the way he's constructed that team, it does not work. I wouldn't be surprised if, along with Keefe, there's another one of those big four that could possibly be moved out, except for I guess 3. Austin Matthews isn't going anywhere.
Well, yes, like.
Well, he's going to Salt Lake, but
would you, if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, fire Keefe, trade Marner, or fire Keefe, keep Marner, and try to see what this core 4 does with a different coach?
Oof.
Sorry, guys. I only asked the hard questions on the bigger and hotter headlines.
I mean, either way, you're firing Keefe.
Yeah.
I think either way, you're firing Keefe. That's a tough. Oh, Dusty. That is a bigger and hotter question.
I think I'd keep Marner and try him with a new coach.
I think you have to because I go back to what we talk about like with Draisaitl here in Edmonton, like where you have a player, contract's going to be coming up, but how are you going to replace that from a player standpoint? Like what are you going to replace it with? I just don't know. Like are they able to instantly get pieces from a Marner trade that make them better, that get them over the hump? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they do. So I don't know. I'd probably lean towards the running it back, new coach. But that's tricky at the same time. And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure there to make adjustments to the core just from the market in general. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
Here's what's going to happen, Gage. They're going to trade Marner. They're going to hire a new coach. They're going to start 15-15, and the coach is going to say they could really use a playmaker in their top 6. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, look at what they did in the playoffs with when Matthews out, Nylander's out. Looking at previous, just from an Oilers view, with how a lot of the coaches of the Edmonton Oilers over the past 5-6 seasons have heavily relied on Leon and Connor to do their thing, right? And we saw what happened, I think, by trading Marner and having the message, look, we have to tighten up in another area of our game. We cannot rely on these 4 guys. We're going to need more from the guys lower in the lineup. And maybe that's what they need to become more of a galvanized team. And instead of just saying, well, you know what, if our top 4 don't score, we're through. Maybe this is.
Well, but can I jump in, Gager? Because I don't think the bottom part of their lineup's the issue. I mean, the issue was their top part of their lineup not producing and their power play not producing. That was the issue.
Yeah, but when you heard Derek Ryan all of a sudden say it was nice to have value, or I knew what my role was all of a sudden, not just always deferring to the top guys. Look, it hasn't worked for so long, Cass, like when it's got to the most important time, maybe throughout an 82-game schedule where more guys are relied upon. And I agree with you. The bottom part of the lineup hasn't been the issue. It's the top guys not performing, but maybe that's because the coach is like, well, the bottom guys aren't going to, I got to rely on these guys. These are our highest paid players. They have to make the difference. And look, hockey's the ultimate team sport. You can't just win with 4 guys. You have to win with full 23.
We'll see how it sorts itself out. Still a few days before Leafs management speaks, and we'll see what ends up happening. Hart Trophy finalists announced today, as expected. I know there's a bunch of people who are like, well, Matthews should be in there, but let's be honest. I mean, this was Kucherov, McKinnon, and McDavid for the final 4 months of the season. We knew these 3 guys were going to be in this conversation. Gager, who do you think ends up winning it this year?
Well, I'm surprised. Who was it? 91 from the Molson team. Wait,
did you guys hear the update on this?
No.
Okay, so you'll never believe this. So Monday morning, goodbye. You guys know, you heard about the team down there. Everybody at the tournament was talking about this Molson team. Anyway, Monday morning, good, bad, and ugly. My ugly from the weekend was number 91 on Molson, kind of starting stuff in all 3 games he played in and all this stuff. So I talked about it. I didn't find his name. I didn't name names. It just was like number 91 on Molson. So yesterday afternoon, I'm driving wherever in the afternoon. Oh, I was driving to get my haircut. And I never pick up the phone, ever pick up the phone. Like, and it's ringing in the truck and there's no name on it. I was like, I don't know why. But I picked up the phone. I'm like, hello. And he goes, hey, is this Dustin Nielson? I was like, yeah. He goes, hey, it's number 91 from Molson. I was just like, oh, hey man, like what's up? He goes, well, a few of my buddies are listening to the show today. They said that you were talking about my antics at the tournament, and I just thought maybe I should reach out and just kind of, say, like some of the other teams were giving it to us too. And, things kind of just got carried away, and, you mix in a few beverages throughout the day. And I was just saying, like, so we had a really good conversation, but I was like, I didn't even end up playing against him because I missed the game against their team. So I don't necessarily know why he called me, but it was a good conversation. He kind of was like, yeah, he didn't say like, oh, I'm sorry for running around and stuff. But, he said, it wasn't everything that everybody else was saying it was about their team. And he was trying to, kind of talk it down a little bit. And it was a good conversation. But out of nowhere, did I expect that guy to call me and have the conversation? I told him, I said, if Hockey Helps the Homeless reaches back out to ask about it anymore, because they were going around asking teams who'd play against them stuff, I said, I'll tell them you reached out, and then we had this conversation, and everything's fine, I guess. But like, never in a million years would I have thought he would have called me on the phone and have a chat. Like, that blew my mind, boys.
Get him on the show. No.
Well, somebody texted in today because we were talking like the ultimate redemption story next year now for 91, right? Like. And I think it was Pat in the county texted into the Nielsen show today and said 91 for the Masterton. Just go get your hands on that one.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah.
I love that he's referred to by his number.
Yeah, he goes, hey, number. I still don't know his name. He's like number 91 from Molson. I was like, oh, hey, what's up, man?
He knows. The fact that he knows how you know exactly who he is from a charity tournament by his number. Are you kidding me? I don't even know what my number was.
Yeah. I think for some reason I had 67. I was just like, so yeah, it was, it was nice of him to call. We had a good conversation. Like, he wasn't mad. He wasn't like pissed off at me for saying anything. So yeah, no, it was I think it was unnecessary, but it was still a good chat to have. It was kind of nice to put a voice to the number on the jersey, I guess.
Anyway, you talked.
Kucherov, McKinnon, or McDavid? Yeah. What do you got?
I got McKinnon. He's a beast. I think hasn't won.
He hasn't had one yet.
Yeah, it's McDavid fatigue to an extent. Kuch, honorable mention to Kucherov, but I just don't think it's because of the gap between the next closest scorer on that team, right? But I just think it's McKinnon's year.
Cass, what do you think?
I think Kucherov. Yeah. I mean,
you think he's going to win it, or you would give it to him?
I would give it to him. I think McKinnon probably wins it because he hasn't won one yet, and people are going to want to get him one. I think, but to me, it should be Kucherov that wins it. I think that team probably not in the playoffs without him.
Yeah, valid point with the gap Kucherov there. Like in the press release they sent out. They did point out that, I mean, it was the largest gap between top scorer and the secondary scorer on a team since that Pavel Bure-Victor Kozlov year, where Bure had like 91 points and Kozlov had 38 or something like that. It was a pretty big gap there. So we'll see. I think they're probably going to vote McKinnon on this one, but I mean, all three of these guys, you can make a significant case. They all did special things. Things this season. I'll get to one more text in the bigger and hotter headlines, but quickly, before we get back around to this Oilers-Canucks series, Dallas, Colorado. That starts tonight. Gager, who you taking in that series, and what type of a series you expect it to be?
I'm taking Colorado because of the way they dismantled the Winnipeg Jets and made Connor Hellebuck look, I'm not going to say me, but a lower caliber goaltender. And just usually I would think he would be the deciding factor, and he definitely wasn't. It's so difficult. That McKinnon-Makar combination, man. That's going to be. I am interested to see how Dallas deals with that. Right. I mean, they have Heiskanen too, who's a fabulous defenseman, but Makar's just still at a different level. I got Colorado beating them in 5. I think McKinnon's too much for them.
Kaz, what do you think?
In 5?
Colorado in 5 Colorado in 5 is a pretty bold take, Gager.
That's a huge hot.
Hey, they had too much trouble. They had too much trouble with the Vegas Golden Knights. I just don't think.
But Vegas is really good. Vegas is really good. No, I'm going Dallas in 7. I think it will be a tough series. I think the difference between Winnipeg and between Dallas is that you have Heiskanen and you have Tanev. And Winnipeg's defense didn't play very well. They didn't. Pionk was a non-factor. And I think on that right side in particular, having those two guys who can play virtually the whole game for Dallas is a huge benefit. And I think they have a lot of depth too. So I think their defense, their defense is better than Winnipeg's. They have an equal amount of depth up front. They have some scoring up front. It's going to be a tough series, but I do have Dallas in 7.
Part of me wants to say Dallas in 7, but it's got to be hard to win back-to-back 7-game series, especially against a team that's had like a week off in there. So if it goes 7, I'm going to say Colorado takes it in 7. I'll say they have a little bit of extra juice in that 7th game. I'll go Colorado in 7 on that one. Brandon from Windsor texts in and says, Dusty, how in the hell did this guy get your cell phone number? I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. I never even thought about that. I just was like, oh, hello, who's this? Thanks for calling me. Great to chat with you. And then the rookie texts in and goes, Dusty, the grease on pizza boxes make it unrecyclable. Man, I've been recycling pizza boxes for years though.
I've been doing it, yeah. It's the first time I ever heard that.
You're actually not supposed to do it.
Well, but then wouldn't the recycling guy be like, leave it on my yard? Like,
yeah, no, they in the WasteWise app, it says it's a good thing to put on the bottom of your bins. That's what I was told. But yeah, because of the grease, it should be just thrown in the garbage.
All right, well, there you go. Those are your bigger.
Came from a good place, Dusty. You're
I try to recycle. I can't recycle. I mean, what am I supposed to do here?
Exactly.
Man. The bigger, hotter headlines brought to you by bmpp.ca. That's Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria. One location already in Edmonton. Another one coming right away. 587-746-0550 or visit their first location, 12848 97th Street. Sliding back around here to this Oilers-Canucks series. Tommy and I got in this on the Oil Stream a little bit yesterday as far as breaking down the different position groups and where the advantages are. What we came to the conclusion on is that we do give the Oilers the advantage, and we can kind of break it down. We don't have to go as in-depth as we did on Oil Stream. We only got about 10 minutes left here anyway. But we gave the Oilers clear advantages in special teams, goaltending, and the forward groups. Are you guys okay with what Tommy and I decided there? Do you see the Oilers having clear advantages in between the pipes, up front with the forward group, and on special teams? Gager, what say you?
I would say goaltending, yes. Specialty teams, yes. I think it's a wash.
You thinking it's a saw-off up front?
Yeah. Not up front. I still give the edge to the Oilers up front with Connor going up. But D, I think it's even.
Well, we're not on the D yet, Gage. I was going to save the D.
Okay.
You're spoiling the D.
Okay, whatever. Sorry.
Cass, special teams, goaltending, forwards. Do you check those 3 boxes for the Oil?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. The forwards is narrow. If Vancouver plays really well. Like it's 5-on-5. They play well 5-on-5. But yeah, still check marks for the Oilers.
Okay, yep. So then we get in. We'll save the coaching. Let's get to the blue line. Because we also, like you, Gager, we basically saw it as kind of a wash. Thought it was pretty even on both sides. We know Quinn Hughes had a phenomenal season there, but the Oilers are rolling out Bouchard and Ekholm and Nurse. That second pair on the Canucks should be pretty good, and Soucy and Myers. And then Zadorov's on the third pair with Ian Cole on the other side. Is that more of an advantage over Kulak and Desharnais? Cass, how do you see these blue lines when you stack them up head-to-head? Is there a slight advantage one way or the other?
Slight advantage Vancouver because of Quinn Hughes.
Just because he's on that other level, right? That's exactly what I said
he's
yesterday.
On that other level.
Somebody, I said, if somebody puts a gun to my head and says you can't say it's a wash, I said I'd probably go slightly in Vancouver on the blue line then.
Yeah. It's tough because I think that the Oilers can really feast on some of those other big dogs, right? Like in the offensive
like just
zone.
The bigger boys, like get that speed going. And
stuff. It's going to be tough to keep up with a lot of those guys. But yeah, Quinn, who uses he's the reason why I kind of have it as a wash.
And coaching. I mean, Knobloch's done an excellent job since taking over. Tocchet may be the coach of the year in the National Hockey League. Cass, do you lean a little bit towards Tocchet, some more experience? Or do you look at what Knobloch's done and basically carrying the Oilers back from dead in middle November?
Yeah, I would go with slight advantage. Tocchet was there all year. He did fantastic things and has coached him into playing a really disciplined style. So yeah, slight edge to Vancouver. I hope that doesn't come across as a knock to Knoblauch because it's not meant to be. Tocchet's done fantastic things on the season. So, I mean, I just kind of got to give it to him an edge slightly.
Gage, where are you going on that one?
Slight edge to Tocchet, I think. A little bit because he's a guy that's actually been in the Stanley Cup playoffs before. Not much, but just knowing what it's all about a little bit. Nothing against Knoblauch. He's been unbelievable. But, yeah, I give it to Tocchet on this one. Just a slight one.
Max is in and says Canucks forwards were even with a Predators team with Forsberg, O'Reilly, and a bunch of third liners up front. So obviously he's pointing out that they played them even. What are they going to do against McDavid and Draisaitl?
It's Pettersson, right? It's Pettersson that's the X factor.
If he's going, yeah.
Because he was non-existent and they beat the Predators, right? So if all of a sudden he comes back, he's fantastic player. Like his I don't know who I think it was on your show, his cerebral, like his hockey IQ is off the charts, the way he can play. That one timer off the side too is absolutely ridiculous. So if he comes to life, that's going to be a whole new set of problems for the Oilers to deal with.
One more quick text that we'll get to, then we'll get to our official predictions for this series. Jammin texted in a little bit earlier on. Don't know if you guys saw this today, but hey guys, just want your thoughts on Team Canada's decision to bring over Pierre-Luc Dubois and Hagel and Paul and let Fantilli and Celebrini go back to North America from the World Championship. So sending home a couple of younger guys, bringing in some more vets here, Cass. You like the addition of bringing in I don't know. I mean, can never say. Would you rather have Pierre-Luc Dubois or just let a young Adam Fantilli run wild on the world? I think I'd probably lean towards the young guys, to be honest with you.
I lean towards the young guys. Let them run wild. These are guys you're going to want to be there for a long period of time. I mean, these are guys you're going to want to be part of that. Like Pierre-Luc Dubois, he's not playing for an Olympic team. You had a bad playoff. I don't know. I want the young guys there. I
think somebody texted in today and said, I think it was Coach Mike. He said, looks like PLD needs a little bit more light cardio before the end of the summer. But that's accurate, isn't it, Gager? Like, go for a couple quick skates overseas?
I wouldn't have him on just because his exit meeting. That was embarrassing, what he was saying. He was basically whining because he didn't get to play with the same guys over and create chemistry. Now he's going to a place where, that's a joke. Send Fantilli, send Dubois back to Hermosa Beach or whatever. He can work on his spike serve, as far as I'm concerned. Enough's enough with that
guy. Quickly, before we get to our official predictions, we do have that VIP table for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, the Friday night show, July 12th. We've teamed up with Alley Cat and the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. We have a VIP table for 4 that we are giving away for that event. All you have to do is text in right now to get into the draw for that. We're doing 3 weeks qualifying. Then we'll give away a VIP table for Friday. Then we'll give one away for Saturday. Then we'll give one away for Sunday here over the next month and a half or so. Text in the word laugh right now to 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Text in the word laugh, and that will get you into the mix for a VIP table for 4 to see Shane Gillis and Andrew Schultz on the Friday night of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. All right, boys, official prediction. Oilers, Vancouver Canucks. I said mid-last round. If they play, it's Oilers in 6, so I will stick to that. Cass, what are you looking at?
Oilers in 6, baby.
Gager?
Oilers in 7.
I was going to say, based on his Dallas, Colorado prediction,
Colorado in 5,
Vancouver in 4. Yeah, Vancouver in 4. Yeah.
You guys watch. It's going to happen. Oilers in 7. Avs in 5.
As long as it's not a Canucks sweep, because I said if the Canucks sweep, I'm going to fly to Vancouver, swim out into the ocean, catch a fish with my bare hands, and bite into it like a bear. So, first of all, I don't like the ocean. It scares me. And I hate seafood, so I don't want to eat the fish. So I don't see it. I don't see a sweep there. I think, look, the Oilers, they're a heavy favorite. Yeah, I think 6 is the max. Gage, you said 7?
Yeah, 7.
So game 7 in Vancouver, the Oilers rolling in and getting it done.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can you don't have to go to the ocean. Just go to the Mariloma Club in Vancouver.
Okay.
Dusty,
do they have fish?
Well, no,
I can bring
the
one.
guy that scared me as a child, his name was Sully. Big, huge, 6'6" rugby player for the Marilomas. He would eat a live cod, like the whole thing.
Oh, that's gross.
So if you've ever seen a cod, it's really spiny. This guy was an animal. He would chase me around the Mariloma Club as a child. Still have frightening dreams about this guy. But he would take a live cod and eat the whole thing.
What?
At the end of it, he was bleeding because the spines and stuff. Like
he ate the whole thing? The whole fish?
He ate the whole thing. Yeah, I just finished therapy with my therapist about this. I actually might have to go back because it was one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed. The Mariloma Club is famous, but we'll just take you there. We'll get you a small cod.
Oh my God. I don't even like eating like the herring. Like those little herrings in the way, like at Christmas time, it's like a tradition around the house. My dad will chase me around with a herring and be like, "Hey, eat it." I'm like, "Get out of here, you gross pig!" Like that's terrible. All right, so there you go. That is 2 guys in the goalie. Oilers Canucks series preview. It is a unanimous Oilers pick for this series. Game 1 will get rolling. GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show will be live from Hudson's on Bourbon Street, EST Watch Party, if you want to join us on Wednesday night. I know a few people are going to be rolling in there. It's wing night as well. Tommy will be on location, and of course, he'll have those gift certificates that he'll be dishing out at Hudson's on Wednesday night. Boys, good show.
Will he be exfoliated? Just wondering.
Well, loofah'd.
Nice and smooth.
But you guys very quickly here. Have you guys ever played with a player in the dressing room who had a loofah in the shower?
No.
Not
in the shower.
Okay, see, Tommy seems to
I have
think
one
like
at home.
Tommy. I'm a loofah guy at home too, but Tommy seems to think like it's not strange that he uses a loofah in the shower at hockey.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yes, it's weird. I was looking at him the other day. We're in the shower, and I was just like, "What are you doing with this loofah?" Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, man. Just use your hands, wash your body, and get out. Like, man.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's the end of the show. That's going to do it for 2 Guys to Goal. If you're listening on TuneIn, iHeart, or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, Nielsen Show replay is coming up, and I'll be back live with you tomorrow morning. Game day, Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. Can't wait to finally get there. Good chat today, boys. Talk to you Thursday.